I've been, I jumped in Young Living April 2016, became a brand partner in January 2017.
Awesome. So why did you do this business?
So I want to help others because this has helped me. Like the oils have helped me. I got it because of Valor because I snored. It actually saved my marriage. So because he was to the point where he's sleeping in another room. And so I'm like, we can't do this. So, but yeah, to serve others, to help others.
Are you a yellow then?
What's that?
Are you yellow?
No, I am very red. I am more red yellow, I think maybe. I have a little bit of blue. My husband is very blue. He's very blue. So we complement each other well.
That's us. I'm red yellow with a little bit of blue. He's mostly blue.
Yeah, he's mostly blue. Yeah, like we do Facebook Live. We just did one on Saturday night where we're doing a kitchen remodel and we're almost done. So we did a Facebook Live and we had talked about like I don't know, earlier in the week we did a Facebook Live about the 14-day reset. He's gonna do it with me next week, Monday. And I looked at him and I'm like, so do you want to tell people like why you want to do this? Like why you're gonna we'll just support you. I'm like, no, that's part of it. But he's like, well, you didn't give me a script. I'm like, I'm not gonna give you a script to say, I'm like, you're doing this from a guy's perspective. And he's like, oh yeah. So but no, he's a good guy. He's funny. And everybody's like, oh, you're gonna stop your Facebook Live? Todd's the life of the party. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm the more serious one. He's the more funny one. So we complement each other well.
Yeah, I'm the more serious one. I pay all the bills. I make sure things happen.
Yep.
He goes surfing and does other things. Does other
Yeah. So
things.
where do you guys live?
We're in San Diego.
Okay.
Where are you guys?
We are in the Midwest. We are in Iowa, northwest corner of Iowa.
Iowa. I've never been to Iowa. I've been to Missouri, but not Iowa.
Don't come here in the winter. It is really cold, and we usually, this is the first year I've lived in Iowa since 95. We have not had hardly any snow. Like usually we have tons, like inches of snow at a time.
Wow.
We've had hardly any. Like I was out fishing this afternoon. We live on a little lake, and I was out fishing this afternoon, and it was windy and stuff. Didn't catch anything, but it's like it's just crazy,
Huh.
crazy weather.
Well, people are jumping on.
Good,
Hey Hayden, how are you? Hey Brian, good to see ya.
Hi, good. How are you guys?
Good.
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 You know, Brian, I was thinking about you because you are constantly talking with people all the time, like messaging back and forth. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm glad you're on, not just messaging, but calling too. I don't know if you call people, but or if it's mostly messaging. Yeah.
Yeah, it's messages are big, especially social media. It's so easy once somebody's in your messaging to just text, but it's actually faster. It saves me time. And then people are like, you took the time to say something. It's like, of course I did. So people really appreciate it.
You know, I was thinking about what to talk today, and I'd love for you to talk as much as possible because I want to talk about like prospecting, contacting, follow up, inviting, like that whole process, which I think a lot of people either don't know how to do, aren't really trained on, because I feel like it's something that you have to be trained on and constantly be doing because that's what this business is. You have to be constantly be doing it.
Yeah.
And if people don't know who Brian is, well, why don't you introduce yourself, Brian?
Hi, I'm Brian. Hold on. Yeah, here, wait, do we have a rag? The camera is like really, sorry, my camera is like really, there we go, that's better. Here, let me move this over here. Hi, I'm Brian. I was not expecting this, but here we are. Yeah, I started in 2018 and I got silver in 4 months. I ran for it hard. Had a couple builders and then stayed steady and kept building silver strong. And then I was really consistent with my social media and all that started to take off. And I ended up getting to gold and then a year later to platinum. And now we're just stabilizing platinum right now. And my biggest thing when I got started, I really didn't have the space or the community around me to do in-person stuff. I had just moved really for like a year and a half into the new spot that I live in sort of now. And my partner at the time became terminally ill. and we didn't have any time to make any friends. I just had some friends at the aquarium where I worked. So to get started, I really needed a second income. And so I had to turn to social media. All I had was my Facebook friends. I didn't even have really an Instagram. TikTok didn't exist. So I went full into falling in love with the products. Ningxia was my gateway. And then I went to sleep support, which are just very common things. And I just shared about it. I shared about the things that I knew. I told everybody about Ningxia. I jumped on Facebook Lives and I unboxed and said, I learned this today. And so looking back, some of it was a little salesy, and I've learned to be a little bit more sharesy at this point. But I think the biggest thing is creating community, and reaching out and connecting with people. You can't build a community if you're not connecting with people. And it's the little things that matter a lot. So for me now, obviously I have a very decent social media following. However, people would think, why aren't you automatically diamond? And that's because I still have to build trust with those people. Got to platinum, but I do a lot of follow-up. I make myself available. I didn't waste any time, even though I was working full-time and I was building my Young Living business. If I had downtime, I was putting it into my Young Living business. If I was going on my lunch break for an hour, that was an hour that I could eat and answer messages, create a post, go through and learn something new. I wasn't just going to sit back and say, I get to scroll. It's my lunch break. I don't have to do anything. I was like, well, I want my life to be better. And for that to be better, I can see that growing a Young Living business. So I filled all the space that I had. I showed up to Zoom calls when I could. If I didn't, I went back and I watched. And the biggest thing that I saw people who were growing was their systems and making it easy for people to get into and easy to connect with. And that basically started to work. I started to see how that would work. Becca Bristow, she and I got on a call one day because I wanted to ask her. I was just like, throw some stuff at me. I'm always asking people, like, you can ask Carol. I'm messaging her. I'm like, shake me out of what I'm in right now. Give me something else to think about so I'm not getting stuck. And I had a great call with Becca Bristow, and she said, make things residual, make things happen for you. And that made a lot of sense. So I designed things to be set up where my residual work is me reconnecting with people. It wasn't necessarily just making it super easy where I would post something and 10 people would sign up and I'd never have to do anything. I wanted it to be residual communication with our people. So we happen to use, we use Diamond Marketing. I know some people use other forms of stuff, but that is my direct text for myself, or my husband Devin, or my sister can answer. And all of our people know that they're going to get one of us, and be able to, sorry, as my dog is running all over the place right now. But that is probably the number one thing that's helped, is that people have a direct phone line to us, even though it's a private number. It's not, my main number. And then when it comes to social media, I do voice stuff. I typically will use my voice because I feel like that is more authentic. It does take less time because I'm not typing out words. You could use voice to text, but if you're going to do voice to text, you might as well actually talk to them. There is something to be said. We were so alone for so long for 2020, and people just want connection. And I think now that we're out of that, people forget that that connection really means a lot to people. And just a simple, hey, I saw that you asked for my link in the comments over here. I just wanted to check in. It's great that you want it, but I also want to know why. What is it? Like, thank you so much for choosing me. I really can't wait to help you. What else is it that you're looking for? Is there something specific? And then I don't just stick with one thing. I list a few things. So I may say, is it oils in a diffuser? Are you looking for household cleaning? I know that you see Devin loves thieves. So I'm tying in my life to what I'm asking them. And I always say, is it supplements? You know, everyone's always asking me energy support and how am I bouncing around the house all the time? And, you know, what is it? Is it something along those lines, or is it a combination of things? You just let me know. I'm here to help you. And then that really drives conversation, and it gets people to share with me, where I don't just throw them my link and they don't just get a bundle. We may be diving into something a little more. It may take time. I may not get them signed up. They can sign up for free. Like, if I'm going to stand on any pedestal or soapbox, it's free accounts. But and they may not order in the first month, but that's okay. Fast start is a me thing, not a them thing. And this whole business is about helping other people. So if they don't order right away, that's fine. It wasn't meant to be. I'd rather them trust me, start to use products and order based on our relationship and them using products that are really targeted towards their needs. And then they have the results that they want and become more dedicated. Oftentimes now, using that method, we're finding between 9 and 21 days, regardless of when they sign up. If they're going to order, they usually jumping on loyalty, and it's oftentimes over 100 PV. And I think a lot of that is the back and forth communication. It is me saying, sure, I can get on the phone with you. And people are extremely grateful when you take that time out. We all say we're real busy, but a 10-minute phone call with a member who is trying to figure out what to do, or maybe they're too embarrassed to ask something in a text or ask something in a Facebook group, you know, they just might need 10 minutes of your time, and having that could be huge dividends in the long run. So communicating with people has become basically the biggest part of my Young Living job.
Brian, can I ask you how, so you talk about products, how do you find your leaders?
That's a great question. I don't know yet. If I'm going to be honest, I have brand partners. And there are some that are on this call, and there are some that will see this, and they show up when they can. I have not found somebody who's another Brian Martin. If you know of them, don't sign them up yet. I think I try to just show what I'm doing and let people know that they can duplicate what I do, but in their own way. And for some people, they are casual at signing people up. Other people run for things. So that is something I'm very honest, I have not found. I have not found a bunch of brand partners that are full on running for it. But also, that's okay. This is my life and this is my goal. And so I show up for them. I help them in the stage that they're at. I try to encourage them. But again, just like customers, if you're going to pressurize, oh, sorry, Devin's watching. If I feel like if you pressure people, it turns into the ick, that gross MLM feel, and then you start losing people. So, you know, I signed up when I signed up and nobody knew what was going to happen. So I have faith that more are coming. I know that wasn't the answer you wanted, but that's the truth.
Well, you know, it's like, what made you want to run as hard as you run? Because it's not about the icky, you know, do this. Because you don't feel that icky. You feel like, I'm running, I'm doing this because I see the future. I see, we're not allowed to use the F word, freedom, but you know, you see that. So what made you decide to just like, I mean, I know your sister, but like, you know, focus.
Yeah, my sister and I are very similar. Our entire life has been like, our parents put it like, go after what you want or someone will take it. Like, and you're going to be left behind, and I don't want to hear you whine and complain about it. To quote my father, Wayne Martin. And that was something that he always instilled in both of us. And he pushed us. If you want to do it, I'm here and I've got your back. And so I try to emulate that with my brand partners. I've got your back, but you've got to go. I can't carry you. Can't do this. And so it's finding the fire and asking people what their fire is. And it's, I want a better life for myself, and I want a better life for my family and my friends. And I will say it may have been a gift in weird ways that I went through the grief that I did, because that lit my fire hardcore. Having to becoming widowed, and then all of a sudden thinking I had to completely leave my apartment, my whole life. I would lose everything, and I needed a second job. I needed that, but I just wanted to be home. I didn't want to go and bartend. Which is a great job. I've been a bartender, but I needed I needed to be in a safe place for me. And when I don't feel safe, like you can ask Devin if I'm like worked up about something and I'm like, no, I need to make sure everything's good. I need to make sure I go even higher. I go even faster, because I know what it's like to not feel safe. And I hate not feeling financially secure. It scares me. And I think that might be something that I have that other people don't. I've met people who are brand partners. They say want to be brand partners, and they have all the financial things that they could want. And it seems like it's really just a hobby. So I think somebody really need that drive. And that's what drove me.
I used to follow this, well, I still follow this trainer because she just actually passed away. And she would say, I can't teach hunger. It's like the one thing I can't teach. I can teach you prospecting, contacting, follow up. I can teach you all those things, but I can't teach you hunger. You know, hunger for this business, hunger for that drive, that has to come from within. But I think, and this is why, like in different leaders and Spirit Society, I show up and I'm like, if we're not talking about why people should be doing this business, like what they get, like what is it like to go on a diamond trip? What is it like to, have $20,000 put in your bank account? What it's like to have all these things, and what it's like to be able to stay home. Like you're saying, that's why I started. I want to be able to stay home. And it's like, but if we don't talk about what that looks like, and Young Living like put out these restrictions on what we're allowed to talk about as far as those things. You're not allowed to show, here's my fancy sports car, here's my fat paycheck, here's this. It's like, but if we don't talk about those things, people go, well, that looks really hard, and I don't want to work that hard. Like, why should I work that hard? And it's like, no, but I want to show you. Like, if we don't show you, how are you gonna know? How are you gonna know? Yeah. I mean, how do you talk to your leaders about why they should do this? Why should they run?
I'm constantly pointing out, like, I'm constantly reminding them of the space that they were in, or the difficulties when they started. Like, remember where you were, remember, don't let it go. It's often, I see people when they grow a little bit, they start getting comfortable and they don't hold on to the fire. So I try to remind them, where are you? What are you doing? And I find that people are getting, what's the word I'm looking for? They get discouraged a lot faster these days than they used to. Um, and I don't know, I don't know if it's a mix of things. I'm sure people have their opinions on what that all is, but the drive isn't there. Like, the drive, people love to just coast, is how I feel. And I think you're completely right. We don't show things. We do, sort of, like, people have seen where Devin and I lived and where we live now. They see a lot of the trips that we go on, but we're very honest that a lot of them are Young Living trips, so it's for work. So we're explaining that we're getting to go do these things. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes, like, we can't say and show, and sometimes I think we're afraid to, because I have seen people say, wow, you make so much money from this, I don't want to order in your downline. I've seen people get scared because they've heard that before. So, that's the other person's problem. If they're worried about your success that they don't even want to try for themselves, then you don't need that energy in your life. But yeah, I think you're right with that. I think it's hard to express and show the possibilities if they're not tangible for people. You can show them the income disclosure, but those numbers are so outside the box for so many people that they don't realize it. I just tell everyone to run for silver. Silver is possible, and it's a huge game changer.
Hayden, you had a question?
Actually, I just finished reading a book that I think is kind of interesting for this particular point that you were talking about, and I just wanted to mention it. So right now, like he was saying, the world is kind of really fact-based. And that's what this book was saying, is that it's very people are looking for facts and statistics and things like that. So for example, in the olden days, and people still love this, but not as much, if you found a shampoo that you loved and you genuinely were talking about it, you're like, I love this shampoo so much, it's changed my, hair game or whatever. Now people are finding that they won't listen to you necessarily about that, but instead, if a hairdresser talks about it, the same exact product, because it comes from a reputable source, now they're like, oh, I'll buy that same shampoo. So at the end of the day, the person selling the product, the shampoo company, they're still ending up getting a sale, but it came from a different source. So I don't know. Additionally, with network marketing, there's like a really fun statistic that exists in this book, where it says that if you stick with the same marketing company and you keep the same, I forgot how they word it. If I think of the word, I'll put it in the chat, because it's a really beautiful way of phrasing it. But essentially, if you stick with the same network marketing company, you stick with Young Living for 10 years, there is a huge percentage, like 90 to 98% success rate, that you're going to hit one of the top tiers with consistency. And obviously, like, we're talking about right now. And I feel like those type of numbers, people are looking for statistics, and they're looking for, how reputable you are in what you're talking about, without, of course, having this Messiah identity that gets built up. So anyways, like I said, I will try to find, they say it a lot more elegantly than I can. And I'll put it down in the chat, but I don't know if that helps at all, but it was a really interesting read that I came across and wanted to share that. So.
Thanks, Hayden. Stacy, did you want to say something? I see your comment 10 years ago. Go ahead, Stacy.
Oh, it was really motivating when Lindsay was able to share her breakdown, her paycheck, because it was before this. My parents had been in Amway 70 at the end of the 70s, and they weren't successful at all because it was a different delivery method. It was a different network marketing company, different time and everything. So I was real resistant to starting, and I got started because everybody was successful. I was excited because you would go into Lemon Drop Lounge and you'd see all this success, and I was like, well, they can do it, yeah, I can do it. So the visualization and the repetition of success and the excitement of that was really appealing to me. And I was like, let's just try it, see what happens. And that's kind of how I was lucky enough to build my builders. It's like, I don't know, just try it, see if it works.
Stacy, how do you talk to your builders about why they should do this business?
Well, actually, it's a little bit of kind of what Lindsay and Melissa were talking about at the very beginning is, you have a wonderful story. I think that you'd be amazing at sharing. Share your testimony, because it's kind of like the sin of the desert. If you have something that's great for you and works amazing for you, you don't share it. You're missing out on serving humanity. You're missing out on serving everybody else. So for me, that's what I want people to do, is I want people to recognize that they have a story and for them to share it. And that's how I've been able to. I'm pretty blessed with having some amazing leaders on our team. So yeah, that's what I do, is I want everybody to share and do the business, because I came in not wanting to do the business, but going, wow, this is pretty amazing. So yeah.
I'm just scrolling through and I didn't realize Kelowna and Carol and Wendy are all on the call. Does anybody want to chime in with something you want to say? They're like, nope. Okay. Well, Paul,
We can just talk. I mean, I could share something, but yeah, I mean, what's your specific question? I mean, just about how to get people motivated?
Well, that's what we've been talking about. We were also going to talk about prospecting, contacting, follow-up, and inviting, because people do it in different ways. People, like Brian's very much building on social media. I haven't had a lot of success. I mean, Facebook in the beginning, yeah, but the last 10 years, not so much building on social media. And I haven't really been super consistent on it. So that's why even now I'm more excited about getting on the phone. And Nathan's going to come on in about 10 minutes and talk about his call that he had with the company. But that wasn't somebody he contacted. Well, it is, but we already knew them. We knew the owners of the company. So it wasn't a cold call. But yeah, how to talk to somebody about Young Living. And do you lead with the product? Do you lead with the business? Do you lead with the health share? How are you leading them into Young Living? And then how do you convert them from a customer to a brand partner? And how do you convert them from a brand partner to someone who's running for Diamond? Like, like how do you dangle that carrot or just show them the possibilities so they go, I mean, I think all of us are those people like Stacy and Carol and Wendy and Kelowna and Melissa too. Well, Melissa's not on the call. I see her picture, but that's actually Brianna. That someone showed us this. And I remember Melissa saying originally that she saw it and she called Lindsay up and said, is this for real? Or are you jerking me around, for lack of a better phrase? Like, is this real? And she was like, yeah, it's real. Like, do you want to do it? And when we all read Lindsay's post back in the day, what was it called? Later she changed it to Buy the Numbers, but it was originally called something else. I don't know if you guys remember that post. And it showed her numbers. It was like 1,000, 3,000, 3,000, 7,000. No, not the napkin math. It was just a post she did on a blog. And we were all sharing the link where she was posting her numbers month by month. And I thought to myself at the time, wow, even if I could make $7,000 a month, that would be a game changer for my life. I could stay home. If I was making $7,000 a month, I could stay home. This was 10 years ago. And that's what I ran for. That's what I wanted, because I wanted to be able to stay home and take care of my babies and watch them grow up. And 10 years later, and I've gotten to do that. And I want to be able to tell that to people, especially people in their 30s now. Like, you can do that. I was thinking about this as I was just walking my dog. I'm like, we all started 10 years ago when we were 10 years younger and we had more energy. We've been doing this a long time. It's day to day to day. But people who are younger coming in now and going and not having the last 10 years, just going, okay, well, show me how I can stay home with my kids. I now have kids, I hate I'm kind of thinking of you because you have a new son. How can I stay home with my kids and watch them grow up? How can I, or, Brian, you just wanted that. You just want to be able to stay home too. Lots of people want to stay home for different reasons. How can I stay home and not only stay home, but travel the world and be able to do things that I wouldn't just be able to do if I was a bartender, if I was working a 9-to-5 job. And this business is not easy. It's contacting, it's prospecting, it's talking to people all the time. And you have to get used to that rejection. You have to think I'm just going to say it. My freedom is worth rejection. Don't turn me into any FCC people because we're not supposed to say that word, but like, my ability to stay home with my kids is more important to me than someone saying, no, I don't want your product. No, I don't want Young Living. No, I don't want network marketing. No, I don't want to talk to you. And I get that a lot. I get that a lot on my calls and my stuff. And it's like, I'm okay with that because this is more important. My goals are more important. My team is more important. And I was listening to this call by this leader in another company on GoPro, and I keep listening to this call. She was just saying, leaders lead from the front. Leaders have to be willing to do the things that they tell other people to do. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm building. And she says, you cannot let your funnel run dry. If you don't have anybody in the pipeline that's coming up, and it's like somebody that you're just talking to Young Living about, someone who's coming along who's going to be a brand partner, someone who's getting that fire to run for Diamond. You got to have people in all of those stages all the time. And it's like, because if you're not, eventually, and we did for a long time, the momentum was there where we didn't have to do it so much by ourselves. A lot of us were in management mode for a long time, but now we can't afford to be anymore. We have to be filling that pipeline all the time. We have to be talking to people. We have to be reaching out and inviting and checking on people, making the calls, talking to people in person, like you were saying, Brian. Somebody was talking about Pat earlier, how Pat's our good friend that passed away. She's a Diamond leader. she was always on the phone. She was always on the phone talking to people. And she was older than us. She was in her 70s, 60s and 70s. And she was always on the phone. And maybe that's the old school way of, we thought, well, we have social media now, but that's how you make those personal connections. That's how, like you were saying, Brian, that's how someone gets to know you and builds that firmness. You don't have a relationship by just typing. You know, all of us built our relationship. At first it was just typing, but then we met in person. And now many of you, I see your faces, are my very, very good friends, if not my best friends. And we built that from in-person communication and Zoom calls and talking and going on trips and all these things. Anybody, Nathan's gonna jump on in a minute. Well, Nicole, I see you, oh, Hayden's typing too. Nicole, did you want to say something? Oh, I see what you're saying about the news. Yeah, people look stuff up on the internet. In my mind, just have them try the product. I mean, the stuff about Gary, it is what it is, and he's passed away now. So, but have them try the product. The product speaks for itself. You know, all the products, they're the best stuff out there. That's how I would just combat that stuff. It's like, well, try the products. If it works for you, it's probably got a good source. And Hayden, what did you want to say?
It was just another little inspirational thing. I found it powerful is when you're leading. I plan to do this. By the way, you hit the nail on the head. I hold on one second. The new baby is crying, so I don't know if you all can hear it, but either way, you hit the nail on the head. For those who are curious to know what is creating my motivation for building your own teams, it genuinely comes down to two things. One is I'm working really hard to figure out a way to keep me and my wife home. And Sarah absolutely is planning on doing Young Living with me. She just makes a really good salary right now with her current job. So when that transitional period can happen, it will happen. And then she'll become obviously one of my people, but keep her home so that we can be, we're all into intentional parenting, slowing down time as much as possible, mindfulness, things like that. And in order to achieve that dream life, you have to be able to create your own schedule. And, that this is the opportunity to do it. So that alone is where my motivation is coming from, is to be able to have that. But my little thing in the chat was just kind of a cute little thing to keep you motivated is, when you're feeling up, it's so important to talk down your line and like let them know of all of your wins and all of your successes and all of your highs. And then because you're in a leadership role, when you're not feeling your best, it's so important to not let that trickle down. Instead, go up. So go to your leaders above you. So when you're feeling down, go up. When you're feeling up, go down. So it's just kind of a fun little way to think.
You're right. And Lindsay used to say that. She would say, we always go up. When you have something negative to say, go up to your upline. Don't say it to your team. And this other lady I was listening to on this GoPro talk, she was saying how, who your leaders are when, the stuff hits the fan. Like, last week with the sale, it was a debacle, whatever. But when people come out and start complaining, those aren't the leaders. When they go, okay, here's the solutions we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do instead. Here, we're going to take, do whatever, call your people, make it happen, take the orders. We'll call in Young Living. We'll make it happen. Those are the people who are the leaders. And we need to, I know everyone on this call that I see are those people, where are the people who need to hear this? Where are they? Well, this call is getting recorded. So anyway, you're right. And Nathan's going to share. Come on, go ahead, Clone.
To share something, just along the lines of being free to speak about the products and about sharing our stories about our business, success in this Young Living business. I think that's where the in-person, like small events are so important, or the little conversations that you have with people where not like you're boasting about what you've been able to do, but your friends and family are seeing what all the leaders on this call have done that have been in Young Living for a while. So people kind of see like that you got a new car, you got a new house, or, you're going on these trips or whatever. But also when you're sitting around and you're passing around the products and people see like your face light up, like we're so in love with these products. It's not just like something we're randomly selling. It's like something we firmly believe in and we love to our core. So it feels authentic. And then when you get to share stories openly, and when you have people in a room that are sharing their different stories about the business, the trips, the products, I think that validates more than anything. And that kind of puts to rest some of that stuff that you see online. I mean, I remember, and still every once in a while, people send me stuff like essential oils kill cats and like Gary Young's a murderer or something, you know, and you're just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, okay, you know me, right? Like, I wouldn't sell anything that was killing anyone's cats. Like, I also wouldn't support a company that was like, you know, so like, I don't know. Sometimes people need to connect you and their connection with you with the company. And then that's like that trust piece where they're like, oh, this is what you actually use for your family. And this is actually how you know, pay to live in Southern California. And you're like, yes. And they're like, wow, you know, oh my gosh. And so I think just, you know, knowing and liking and trusting, but those in-person gatherings are so great. I mean, Jessica and I have started doing more in-person events just because we live close to each other, and Carol collaborating kind of cross-line and just getting together more. And, you know, post-COVID is kind of hard to get people to come out and about. And at first, like, between all of our teams, which we have kind of a lot of people here in San Diego with Carol's whole team and Jessica's whole team and my team. And we were like, you know, barely filling the room. And then they started to get bigger. But at those events, people talk and people get that fire again. And so I think we're starting to feel some more of that coming back around. And it just looks different now than it did 10 years ago when Lindsay was sharing those numbers. And you know, even the things we were posting and the things we were saying, it was just different times. So it's hard to compare to that. But I do feel like we have a lot of great things now. I mean, the way different social media platforms can be used. Obviously, Brian's, you know, leading the way there and showing us how, you know, you can be vulnerable and show up and share like really personal parts of your life. And then people trust you, and then they kind of find their way to the business. And even if that's not someone's forte, hopefully they can get out of their comfort zone and gather people in their home and just start to share authentically, because that, I mean, that's how mostly I built my business, is just doing lots and lots of in-person events on all different topics. And so I hope that people feel inspired and motivated to do that, because that is the piece. It's like you have to want it. And so I think finding those people that have the hunger, but also pulling that out of them a little bit. And that's what Lindsay was really good at. And Wendy, I remember Wendy did like a really inspiring post in the Lemon Droppers at one point that talked about like their story. I don't know if you guys know her story with her husband Tyson, and how he was going to medical school, and he basically dropped out to support her in her business because her business is exploding and they're making more money than he would have made as a doctor, and breaking down like what you could make in different professions. And I remember like reading that post, and like I would go back to it when I wanted inspiration, because I was like, I don't know of any other way to make this kind of money. And like Jessica's saying, be able to stay at home. I mean, I just don't think there's anything better. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And sometimes it's trying to get them to figure out their dreams and their why, because if you want to stay home bad enough, or you want to live a certain place, or you want to have a certain lifestyle, and you see that this is the way that you could get there, like, I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of red and red personality. So I'm kind of like a go-getter, and I have that competitive side too, where I'm like, what? Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna make this happen. And I know not everybody has that, but if you can find a couple people that do, like Dr. Pat, you know, she was that way, and she was just like, she was definitely a person who was like, I will never, ever sell little bottles of oil. Like, I'm not doing this business. Like, that was so beneath her. She's this knowledgeable chiropractor. She was so like such an incredible healer. And then once she discovered like what the products actually could do, there was something going around in Maui, and thieves basically helped like the entire community. And she was like, wait, what? These oils can do that? Like, hang on. Every patient that walked in the door of her chiropractor office, she's like, so the first thing you need to do is buy these oils. She just like, it was the highest enroller. But anyway, I think finding like some key people, and then the people that don't have that drive, trying to figure out what their why and what their motivation is. Because if you need money or you need health, you know, like Young Living is kind of the whole package. So anyway, that's my share.
And I think that we Reds want to find more Reds, right? Because that would be amazing. However, we are all very, very rare, right? Especially in Young Living. The majority of people in Young Living are yellow, so they want to help people. They feel self-conscious and, weird about sharing. So I think, while we're waiting for that miracle to happen, that unicorn, I think just showing people that sharing enrolling 1 or 2 people a month is doable, right? Because that's probably more duplicatable than finding a me or a Jessica or a Brian or, any of us. So just showing your team, like, just share about whatever you're loving, what products or the health plans or the reset or whatever, and get 1 or 2 people enrolled every single month. If you did that, you would have an OGV that would grow, right? Instead of hoping and waiting for someone in your downline to like turn into a red person unicorn. So Jody Meshik always talks about the army of ants. Just help people get to star so that they can have like a little piece of success so that they can see like, oh, that was doable, and then keep building on their why and all of that so they can see that like, oh, silver is doable. But I think a lot of people might see silver and just be like, totally like dream income or whatever, life changing, but I can't do it. But most people would say like, well, I could earn like a couple $100. That's how I started this business. I thought like, I'll just be earning a couple $100 a month. So that, I think that's the thing that we have to, as leaders, figure out how we communicate that to our team, is just get those 1 or 2 people sharing 1 or 2, enrolling 1 or 2 people every single month. If we could all get, 5, 10, 20 people in our down.
Carol, can we have a contest? Can we have a Spruce Society contest?
What's up?
See, can we have a Spruce Society contest where we have a good old, I don't know, enroller challenge or something like that? Because
Yeah.
I know that when the last couple times we've had like, get this or get this product, I have all my Reds really come out, and then the ones that maybe have taken a break and they're like, ooh, I want this, they come back. And so I have a lot of competitive people on my team.
Yeah, we haven't done a Spruce Society. It's good for Reds, but it doesn't get those yellows out.
We could do like every time you do this, I don't know, we donate something to the Young Living Foundation.
Right. Yeah.
Speaks
we
to
have to find a foundation. Like maybe you don't win the money. We donate it.
You donate it. It's in your name. There you go.
Right.
So I have to run my daughter to a dance class real quick, but Nathan's on, and I'm going to tell a little analogy first. I came up with it the other night. I was just lying in bed and I kind of thought of it, and Nathan's like, that's kind of cheesy, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it's applicable, and we're going to talk about the health share. Nathan's going to share how he talked to a company and introduced the health share and got Clearwater involved on the call. And they had a 3-way call with Clearwater, Nathan, and the company owners, and how that went and how he discussed it. But first of all, building with the health share is, as Nathan likes to say, very sticky. It's sticky OGV because people don't change their health company, their health plan very often. We just changed this past week, but before that, the last time was 10 years ago when we switched to Kaiser. So when you're building with the health plan with the Clearwater, we feel it's very sticky OGV because you're going to get OGV every month when someone pays their health plan fee that they're, have their health plan. And it's like, and I was thinking of this analogy, the story of the 3 little pigs, like building with classes or maybe vendor events where you're signing people up, but not getting them on loyalty rewards because they just want to get the kit and see how it goes, is like building your house with straw. They might order again. They might never order again. It's kind of OGV that blows away, that can blow away, right? As we've all seen that, OGV, a lot of us have lost a significant amount of OGV in the last few years. It kind of blew away between the recession and inflation and the tech problems and all the other problems. I see you smiling, Stacey. So like, okay, that's like building your house with straw. building your house with loyalty rewards is like building your house with wood, the second pig. It's like, okay, this is a little bit more stable, but still they can just go in the back office and click that cancel loyalty rewards when their money gets tight and they're like, yeah, I just can't afford it anymore. And, cancel and it's gone. So it's a little bit better to have them on loyalty rewards to have that money coming in every single month, but still it can burn down, blow away, whatever. Building your house of OGV with the health share, we feel like is building your house with bricks, solid bricks, where they come in, they're not placing their order. Oh, well, they are placing it because they're going to get the reimbursement for $50 to $75 for their Young Living order, but also you get money, you get their OGV for being on the health share. And it's like, I think it's like 110 OGV per family, which basically that's like a loyalty order every month, plus the 50 to 75 that they're going to be paying. I think Carol did the math. It was like an average of like 175 a month to have one family on. So imagine a new family, 175 OGV coming in every single month. And you can call up one company. The company, Nathan, you'll talk about this, but he talked to this one company and I think they have like 15 employees or something. So that's 15 potential people all at once that could sign up. I'm going to run Mary to her lesson. I'll be back in about 10 minutes, but Nathan's going to talk about how he spoke with this company and how that call went. Be right back.
Thanks, Jess. Yeah, so it went well. I mean, it was I just talked to them. We had actually done some investment with this company, so we have a direct kind of connection to them. And I just asked the CEO and I said, hey, we've got a health share that we are now offering. Young Living has basically a new product, a new offering, and we shared that with them, and it went well. They asked a lot of questions. I think the key takeaway is that I wanted to just let you guys know that I did it with one of the Clearwater reps. His name is Jake Norman, and I just felt like he was pretty sharp and he was excited to help and he was responsive. And so I felt good about that connection and having him represent Clearwater. And yeah, I think the call went well. I haven't heard anything. Nothing has really happened as of, so I don't know that there's a lot to report. But just the fact that they are willing to do that. If you have a company that is willing to take a look at it, we did, it was like a 45-minute call, and they asked quite a few questions, and I need to follow up with Jake and follow up with them and just kind of see how that all went. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is going to be a slow burn as we understand it, as other leaders begin to understand it. I think, to Jessica's point, this is going to be a way that that OGV can be sticky, can stay, and that's an exciting thing. So yeah, that's, I think, kind of my do we have a specific support person? Yeah, let's see that we should be connecting to at ClearShare. Jake Norman is, I'll just put his we don't want to inundate Jake with, but if there's legitimate opportunities, I think it's Jake.Norman I'm just writing his email into the chat here.
How big was the company?
Jake, are you here? Oh, Hayden,
this is
sorry, that
Hayden.
was Hayden. I apologize.
So you
Sorry, I
have to
just
have-
jumped on
if
this.
you have a meeting scheduled for, or you want to schedule a meeting for 10 or more people, Jake Norman and also Matt Sherman are available to help you. So there's a graphic floating around that I put their emails in Spruce and in all the leader groups. So you can email either of them for help, and they'll jump on a call with you and do the whole presentation and answer all the questions. And we're working on, so we're having a huge meeting tomorrow with Jake for Diamonds and Up to answer every single question. And that's going to help us narrow down kind of like what needs to be created to help the entire field have everything that they need.
Yeah.
And so then once we have that call and we kind of figure all that out, we'll be having another call for all of Young Living. That'll kind of be like, here it all is. And so they're planning on having more calls. This whole thing, just so you guys know, like it just happened so fast that me, Allie, my sister Yvonne had been meeting with the Clearwater people for weeks and months to get this plan going. But we were never thinking about, well, I was sort of thinking about like resources for the field. So I created all those graphics and slides and whatever. But thankfully we have smart people like Jessica and Nathan who are like thinking about the math. Brian helped with the math too. But like we have not thought about like all of the nuances and all of the little things. We're just trying to get this plan out because we actually wanted it to come out January for kickoff, New Year's kickoff. Plus that's still kind of like open enrollment period, but we just couldn't get it all put together on Young Living and Clearwater side. So it came out February, right? But we've not focused on like, how can we get all these questions answered? And there's a billion questions and we did our best to try and think of all the questions. But then of course, you know, everybody's so smart and they think of all these other little things. So the call that we're having tomorrow will hopefully narrow down kind of what we need. And, you know, we've got for Q2, we've got plans for a practitioner like webinar. So like you've got someone that's a practitioner
awesome.
that has an office, they
Yeah.
do holistic services so that you can
Yeah.
send them this webinar. So like they're totally open with creating whatever we need. And it's just kind of, they've never done a holistic plan before. So all of this is also kind of new to them. And so the ClearShare part of it, they've been doing since, you know, 2018, but the holistic part of it is brand spanking new to them. So we're all just daily like having chats and answering questions and adding things. So just know like this is just the beginning. Like it's going to get better and better. And the systemization of this is coming at some point soon.
Yeah. Thankfully, you know, Clearwater's kind of heading that up, you know, obviously with a lot of IT issues with Young Living. So I think they'll get a lot of feedback from the call tomorrow. They'll figure out, okay, this is what we need to do. We'll have a few different versions, you know, a 2-minute version, an 8-minute version, and a 20-minute version or something. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that call tomorrow. And I think, yeah, this is a work in progress. And but I love the fact that both Young Living and Clearwater are willing to like pivot a little bit and adjust, and everybody will benefit from this. Like everybody will, if you know you seize the opportunity. So thanks, Carol, like for making like getting that going, you know. I mean, yeah, we're grateful for it. So call should be interesting tomorrow. Should be fun.
Yeah. Be interesting. Challenges in enrolling. Yeah, they're going to have like videos of how to enroll so people can see that whole process. The quote tool is going to get better, and like just things are going to continue to morph. And even the website, like if you've gone into the FAQs like a week ago or 2 weeks ago and you go into it now, there's more stuff and it's edited. And so we're meeting once a week with marketing to kind of catch all the little things that people are letting us know are happening. And then we're working with their IT team, and thankfully their IT team is, you know, their website's not as big as Young Living, so they can make changes very, very quickly. So, yeah. Yes, they are working on the flow of like when you get a quote or you sign up for a webinar, like apparently people were getting multiple texts and emails and like it was a lot. So I think right now they've suppressed all of the things, and it's supposed to be if you ask for multiple quotes, that something overall is supposed to like figure out you're one person and just send one thing
Oh.
instead of something. Yeah, not
Yeah.
as of last week. It should be happening this week. So that's the great thing about this company is they're very, very responsive and open to us telling them like, hold up, like our people don't like this, so you need to stop. And they're totally open to that. And they're probably gonna start having some focus groups too with all the different ranks, everybody, just to get feedback on what needs to still be worked on to make it just more simple. But I love, love, love the Three Little Pigs analogy because it is building with bricks. Like you get the person on the health share, maybe they're not even Young Living members, right? But if they like holistic products, then you get them on the holistic plus clear share. You educate them about the fact that they can get basically free products, right? Every month. You tell them to put it on loyalty. Then
Yeah.
you start expanding on that, right? That doesn't mean just $50 to $75 a month ever capped. Like they will probably hopefully see the benefit of getting more stuff, but they get at least $75, $50 to $75 reimbursed, right? So that means, you know, if you sign up a 40-year-old person that has a family on the Clear Share Holistic, it's like 172 or 176. But that's not the end of it, right? Like as
That's
they
just the
learn.
plan PV, right? The
Well,
plan
that's the
PV
plan PV plus
Oh.
the holistic product reimbursement.
reimbursement. Okay.
Yeah. So there's more that can come. So just think, this is why like I've been working my ASS off because like I'm not getting any kickbacks here. Like this is all because like if we can get everybody in Young Living excited about these health plans and enrolling people on these health plans, like everybody's numbers go up. Someone 20 levels down for me, if they take off with the health shares, that benefits all the people above them, right? So this is like just such a huge thing that like I don't
Mhm.
know why. I think just people are overwhelmed with the idea of it and there's just a lot to learn. But the beauty of it is that you don't really need to learn that much. You just need to learn like there's 3 different options. Send people to the landing page. You can create your deep link landing page. And then
Yeah,
just need
Wendy.
to sign up for the free account first before they enroll. Hayden, you got a question?
Yes, I apologize. I am on, asking a lot tonight, but
No
clearly
apology.
I told you guys I'm physically on fire. So I am making this happen. So no, I'm asking about specifically for the health share plan. I have been making my phone calls. I went on Google Maps, typed in all the chiropractors, IB lounges, yada, yada, yada. And I've been taking the approach of trying to offer it as something that could help grow their business, right? And have had actually quite a few people very interested in this specifically. And so been sending them emails and they've been, I haven't had any sort of success with closing the loop yet, but a lot of people very interested, which is great. So, but my question is, do you think that it's more beneficial to focus on calling up small businesses and taking the approach of like, hey, this is something to offer your employees? Like, do you think that that's going to be a better approach rather than the, hey, you could use this to attract more customers to you kind of approach? Just curious on y'all's thoughts.
I think it's kind of equal. I
Kind of
don't think
equal.
there's one that's better than the other. It
Okay.
depends on the business owner, it depends on the practitioner and what they're open to.
Mhm.
But I say just go for it. Start blasting out those calls to
Okay.
everybody,
Yeah. I got my
Um,
abundance oil going. So
Yeah. Get it.
You know, I think those that are like see the opportunity now begin to kind of ride this wave as it's building. Like, you know, we've all lived in social media land for who knows how long, you know, since 2007, 8, when Facebook came around or whatever, and that's been good and fine. But like cold calling is the new social media. Like, go just do that, you know, and like, yeah, I think that anyone that has an organization it seems the most obvious thing that you're communicating tactfully, respectfully to that core group of people that you have. And then in addition to that, you're also, you know, cold calling, talking to businesses. Yeah, and if you're, you know, Hayden, you're on fire about this. That's, I mean, I love that. I've like ever since I talked to Carol that very first time, like it was just like it was very exciting and I saw the potential of it. And I think of like a health and insurance company effectively, yes and no, right? You know, like integrating with a health company, a health insurance and a health company, or a health share and a health company. Like, has that ever happened? No. Like, I think that this, well, maybe it has. I don't know, but I know that it's happening in this case, and it's a new idea. And like you said, Hayden, like you're talking to people and they're like, they're at least interested and will take a look. How easy is it to send quick information and be responsive and follow up and say, you know, and then, and like Wendy, you said, we just do it ourselves. We write our own story and then we tell that story. I don't know if you guys know who Gary Vee is. I mean, the guy's all over the he's all over the you know, social media. But this idea that he talked about documenting versus creating. Oh, creating feels so like you know, hard to do, you know, and systematically creating, you know, content. But then he's like, just document like the day, like now, like, you know, like so on March 1st, I was like, today is the first day of our health share, and we got off of Kaiser, and you know, I just kind of told the story that I had been living up to that point. And yeah, I'm projecting out, and yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, this is great, but I'm just telling my story and documenting the now and the present. And then say, you know, and then you just have a little bit of faith and put yourself out there and go for it and see what happens.
And to that end, we're starting these power hours where you might feel like, I'm too scared to pick up the phone by myself. But if you jumped on a Zoom call and you saw everybody was calling people, everyone's going to be muted, of course, so that, you know, it's not just a bunch of noise. But if you saw, you know, a group of people on the phone calling people, maybe they're calling small businesses, maybe they're calling chiropractors, maybe they're just calling people in their organization, maybe they're calling inactives. There's a whole bunch of different people. Maybe they're calling their leaders. You know, getting on the phone and building these personal relationships and being very intentional about, this is my work time. I work from 10 to 12, or, you know, whatever your work time is, you carve out those hours. So we're going to do that this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 12 Pacific time. And I already put the link in Spruce Society. It's just going to be like this, but we're all going to mute ourselves and get a headset or get your cell phone or whatever you want to get, and just be intentional about your working hours. If those hours don't work for you, then get a group of your team and say, let's do it at night. You can't really call businesses at night though. So something to think about. You want to make sure you do it during the day, but you don't have to just call local businesses to where you are. You can call anybody in the United States. So think about that and just we're going to have some scripts. I see your message, Heather. I already have, if you want to send me your email, I already have scripts for emails, what to do, what to send to like small businesses and chiropractors. But we're also going to make phone scripts for everything from just calling on a prospect to checking on them to how to call a small business and talk to them about the health share. I'll make up a bunch of scripts and I'll just post those in Spruce Society. So, oh, thanks, Heather. Let me take a picture of that. So, yeah, is anybody? It's about 6 o'clock. I want to respect people's time.
Yeah, I just wanted to answer, comment on Wendy's comment that you just got blood work done and you had an appointment to get to your Family Max. So highlight, hair coordination is where you want to go. If you are having blood work, if you are having any kind of medical procedure or test or anything, if you know ahead of time, ClearShare has a care coordination team, and if you give them like 14 to 21 days ahead of time, they will look in their network, figure out who their preferred providers are, and if you go see one of their providers, that lab work could be free. That MRI could be totally free. And so, so that is a huge, huge thing that, like, I don't know how to make people understand that that's as huge as it is, but it's mind blowing that they offer that. And so, this is before the max, before your annual max is met. If you use the care coordination, it is free. And then, oh, they told you differently. Let me check.
So I asked specifically because I knew that our annual blood work was up, and it isn't inexpensive. And it may cost us $900 for both of us. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not cheap. So they said after the annual max is met, then you need to talk to them about any procedure. But Carol, maybe this person was not right. Maybe
Right.
you have accurate information.
I'll double check, but from what I understand, it's not, but I could be wrong. Yeah. So those scripts are awesome. Thanks for creating those, Jessica.
Yeah, and feel free to modify them to your own voice, of course, you know, just these are some ideas.
It's just a starting point, it's a reference point, and then yeah, you make it your own. And I think also on the cold calling, and also let's be respectful of people, and we want, yeah, we just that's maybe just goes without saying. But treat others the way we want to be treated, and even on the phone and as we're approaching people,
You know what, real quick, before we jump off, one of my leaders was like, Jess, because she was like, I'm kind of desperate for money. How do I not sound desperate for money when I'm talking to people? And I'm like, you just have to make so many calls that, like, after a while, if you're making your 100th call, you're not going to sound desperate on the 100th call because you're just in the rhythm of making the calls. And even though you're desperate for money, you just kind of assume I'm only going to get a percentage, and it's okay. Like, not every person, and keep your voice even. Talk to them like you're talking to your friend, like, just, how are you doing? My name is Jessica and I'm from Young Living, or I'm a Young Living brand partner. And just, and people, you're going to get no's, and it's okay to get no's, but that's how you get to the yeses. Besties.
I have a little adder for you guys. So this is a business option, and business people understand recognition, revenue, having additional income streams. So this is something where I am joining a local ladies chamber, and they meet every week. Some people do some different chambers, and they have offshoots. Get involved in the local chamber where you're going to events, you're going to luncheons, where they're there to network, they're there to talk business, they're there to listen to what you have to offer and to network. So one of the things I had gone to my last luncheon, of course, I sat with the chiropractor that was giving the presentation, of course, talking about our good friend, Dr. Pat. And one of the things about this health share is not only are you your patient's gonna be able to see you more often, if a patient decides to leave, you still have that revenue coming in from that patient that is maybe not coming and seeing you anymore. So you're still getting revenue from all of that hard work that you did. So that was something that was like, and so she's already currently utilizing Young Living, but we're following up. So we're just gonna talk about it. I'm gonna use it as just a starting point, just for practice for me. So that's what we do, we practice.
Well, I learned I have so many notes, you guys, from this call. Thank you to everyone that jumped on. Let you go have a good evening. But see you next week. Please come back. Let's keep having these calls and hashing this out, and jump on the power hours, because that's how we're all going to learn. And I want to see new rank ups. That's what I want to see in everybody on this call and our teams, creating those rank ups and seeing those new silvers popping up. Ding, 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 ding. And let's teach them how to do it. All right.
Brian hitting diamond.
Yeah. Coming up. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.